People say the Jaguars should trade for the Giants quarterback, Eli Manning. And on the surface, it makes sense. From the outside looking in, you go, oh, that's a good trade. Eli's old coach, Tom Coughlin, the guy he won Super Bowls with, is the man running things in Jacksonville. Ooh, that makes sense. And, the Jaguars, they're struggling at quarterback. Blake Bortles isn't cutting it. Well, maybe if we bring in Eli Manning, that will solve all of our problems. And, the Jaguars have a better roster than the Giants. Maybe that's all Eli needs. Maybe all Eli Manning needs is a couple better players around him. Like, problem solved. No. Sadly, no. I would argue that Eli Manning would be worse for the Jacksonville Jaguars than Blake Bortles. And there are two key reasons for this. One of them is I think that Blake Bortles obviously has a better arm. Arm strength, this is less important, but arm strength does matter. And Eli Manning and Blake Bortles are both equally inaccurate. They miss a bunch of throws, but at least Blake Bortles has a stronger arm than Eli Manning. I would take Blake Bortles over Eli Manning. But the number two thing is far more important. For all of Blake Bortles' flaws, this is why Blake Bortles is a better quarterback for the Jaguars than Eli Manning. Eli Manning is not a good fit in Jacksonville. Because Eli Manning has no mobility at all. Like, none. He cannot run the ball at all. The minute there's a little bit of pressure, Eli Manning's a goner. It's over. He's a statue in the pocket. He doesn't slide and move around very well. He doesn't move around in the pocket. He fumbles often. Eli Manning he's a walking disaster. He's a standing disaster in the pocket. It's not good. The way you beat Eli Manning is you get a little bit of pressure on him. If you can force Eli Manning to get uncomfortable, he's not good enough anymore to beat that. If you watch the Jaguars, watch the way Blake Bortles plays quarterback. About 5-6 times a game, he has a guy come free, a guy about to sack him, and he avoids it and runs away. I mean, Blake Bortles has had pressure. You might hate the guy. I don't like Blake Bortles, but he's had pressure on him all day, and credit to him, he does a good job escaping pressure. He can run downfield. He can slide around in the pocket. He can avoid a pass rush. I don't know. If you replace Eli Manning with Blake Bortles, all the plays where Blake Bortles escapes a sack instantly become sacks. I mean, Blake Bortles has run for 188 yards this year, about 31 yards a game. That means that roughly Blake Bortles averages about 5-6 plays where he escapes a blitz or escapes pressure, runs downfield, gets a little bit of positive yardage. If the Jaguars added Eli Manning, all they would do is be adding about 5 or 6 sacks a game because Eli Manning is less mobile than Blake Bortles. It matters. It's not good. Look, I understand the other perspective. Some people believe that Eli Manning, he just needs a chance to get away from Odell Beckham Jr. and the toxic Giants locker room. I mean, the Giants are turning on Eli Manning. And maybe, you could argue, maybe in Jacksonville, Eli Manning would spark a revolution. He would change and inspire the team. And that's a solid emotional argument. But that inspiration that Eli Manning would bring would last for maybe 2 games. We'd be all pumped. People would be very excited. The Jaguars would play really well for a couple quarters. And then back to normal. And ultimately, Eli Manning is worse for the Jaguars than Blake Bortles. He would take more sacks. He'd still miss a lot of passes, just like Blake Bortles does. But the Jaguars should not trade for Eli Manning. He would get sacked even more than Blake Bortles does. It would not be good. The Jaguars would not win games with Eli Manning. They cannot. Their offensive line is not good enough. The only way that Eli Manning can win games in the NFL, if he has the very best offensive line in the entire NFL, he never gets touched and he never has to move from the pocket. Basically, unless you give Eli Manning a super team, the guy can't win. He can make some good reads, but he can't handle a messy pocket anymore. Blake Bortles, at least for all the hate I've given him, I don't like Blake Bortles. I've given up on him. The one thing you can credit Blake Bortles with, he can run. He can escape pressure. He can get yards downfield. He can turn a sack into a positive play. Eli Manning can't even do that. Eli Manning would be worse for the Jacksonville Jaguars than Blake Bortles currently is. My name is Zach Schaumler. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. It means a ton to me. This is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports. It's my pride and joy, my favorite thing in the entire world. If you're not aware, you can subscribe to Strong Opinion Sports on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and on YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube, as well as shorter, interesting breakouts like the one you just watched. And if you really want to help me grow, it would mean a lot to me if you shared this with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about this show. My name is Zach Schaumler. Thank you so much, and have a great day.